that too often spat itself at the closest random object. He would not let it, not today, when he had just gloried in his smallness and mortality. He called for a third glass of wine and, with an effort, paid heed to aroma and savor. The glow already in his blood strengthened. After a while his thoughts flowed calmly, more ironic than bitter. The time is out of joint. Yes, old Will had said it, as he said all else human anyway. His imagination had not encompassed the cybercosm. How could it have? Nichol did not understand today's world either. What merely organic creature ever would? This era had its virtues. Doubtless more people were happy than anyone else in history. But it was not an era to inspire poets. And no artist works in isolation. However abstract or romantic, art of any kind, not diversion or decoration, but that which lays hold of the soul and will not let go, springs from the realities around it. Precedents were abundant, moments of radiancy outshining everything that happened for generations earlier and generations afterward, Amarnan, Periclean, Tang, Elizabethan, and the dull times, the dim times, when the hack and the academic reigned, when nobody took fire because there was no fire, times whose work soon lay forgotten, unless eventually a scholar exhumed a bit of it for curiosity's sake. Nichol had done that now and then, in a desultory, amateur fashion. He had puzzled over the phenomenon, aware that he was by no means the first. Why this jagged distribution of greatness? The incidence of innate abilities could scarcely vary that much. The social situation, the zeitgeist, were such phrases anything but noises. Usually he had dismissed his speculations with a sneer and a curse. This evening, however, sitting solitary at the table, he found them astir again, and half in focus. The scrambled metaphors provoked a wry grin. A line from Jorge Luis Borges crossed his mind. Well, that man had been among the rare exceptions to the rule. Consider, the first half of the 20th century was a supernova in literature as well as in science and technology. After about 1950, while knowledge of the cosmos and achievement within it waxed on and on, creativity in the traditional arts guttered close to extinction. What makers from that time still spoke to Nichol about had basically been completing work they began earlier, aside from Borges and a very few others. True, he was born in 1899, was it? And much of his writing appeared before the First Global War. Yet he went on from triumph to triumph until the end of a life rather long for those days. El Oro de los Tigros was published in the last third of the 20th century. How could that be? Impulse grabbed. Here Nichol was, in Borges's Argentine, with a full capability Quivira on hand, and enough credit to pay for whatever special service would be required. Why not? He just might learn something that would help him. At the least, instead of futilely brooding, he ought to get some hours worthy of the past several. He sought out the manager, who exclaimed in surprise, "You wish to use it, senor? Why, may I ask? Hardly anyone goes to a Quivira anymore when dream boxes are everywhere." "I know," said Nichol, "but a dream box can only draw on the standard programs. The selection is huge, senor. I do not know how many millions of different milieus and situations you can choose from. Still, I suspect they don't contain exactly what I want. A Quivira is equipped to work with the cybercosm and produce a new one. Don't worry, this is nothing perverse." Nichol laughed. "I agree, it's probably impossible to invent anything along those lines that isn't already available. Basically, I want to meet a man who died hundreds of years ago." That was a common desire, and simulations of historic figures were activated every day in dream boxes around the world. Nichol simply doubted that Borges was among them. How many today had heard of, let alone read him? Quite apart from changes in language, those subtle, elegiac lines were altogether alien to an age wherein the boundaries he knew between nature and artifice, organic and inorganic, life and death, were no more. Nichol